Hi everybody, it's Claire back with another art journal video. This one again is playing with some of Dina's new release in this fabulous journal. You guys are going to love this journal. It is amazing. Um, I am going to be using this lovely face silhouette stencil called Proud Woman, and I'm going to draw through it using my Stabilo All pencil. So to do this, it's super easy. There's no gesso on my page. I'm just going straight in onto the journal page using the Stabilo All. So the paper in this journal is watercolour paper. It's brilliant for, as you would imagine, any techniques where you're going to throw water at it and activate things. So I wanted to try the Stabilo All on the paper and just see how it would behave. So I'm carefully tracing around all the details on the stencil. And then when I remove the stencil, I'm going to go in and water activate the Stabilo All, and I will have the face on my journal page. A really simple way to start. And you can do this technique with any stencil that's a face, really, or even any image, any imagery you've got. It's a really simple way to get that on your page without getting all your paint out. So one thing you need to be mindful of when you're going in with your Stabilo pencil is not to press on too hard, because the pigment will lay down in a really dark layer. Just go in lightly because it's easy enough to add more. I am using a water brush and I'm just pushing the bristles of the brush right up to the line that I've drawn and allowing the pigment to flow out into the area where the water is on the page. And then I'm just pulling it out a bit further and kind of fading it. So you don't have a tremendous amount of control with this technique, but it's a really nice way to get a cool image onto your page. And the more you practice, the easier you will find it. And as I say, just remembering things like the harder you press, the more pigment you'll lay down, the darker it will be, is just a really simple way to mean that you can make this technique work for you on your page. And the other thing to remember, if you have a piece of kitchen roll on hand and it's going down too dark, while it's wet, you can blot it exactly as you would if it was watercolour paint, and you can lift some of the pigment off. So anywhere where I don't want it to be too dark, I'm just going to lightly go over the lines that I've drawn through the stencil. I'm just adding some little bits of shadow, just to bring a bit more dimension to the face, but I'm not overthinking and over worrying about that because I want to keep this page nice and simple. So just finishing off the details on the face. And I think as well, it's that thing of you need to let go of making it perfect. I bang on about this so much. It doesn't need to be perfect. We put so much pressure on ourselves to produce something that we think is worthy and good enough. And once you remove that pressure, it becomes fun. And you can then kind of get lost in your creating. So here you can see that bit under the lip is quite dark, and I'm just going in and picking up some of that pigment and then just moving it around the face a little bit. It does dry a little bit lighter. Uh, you've got to be a little bit careful with that shadow because at the minute that does look a bit like a goatee. But, you know, ah, I'm not bothered. No, it's fine. You live and learn. So, while it was wet, I could have gone in and blotted it, but I clearly haven't noticed how dark it is at this point. So, oh, there we go, blotting something else, but not the chin. Anyway, never mind. So then this is a really simple way to create a background. I'm going with scribble sticks. These are Dina's pigment sticks, and I of course am going to be doing a rainbow of colours going across my page. So I'm just working through. I tend to keep them in this little hand held, I don't know, you call it a little trug or something, I'm not really sure. It lives on my desk, and I've just sorted those colours into warms, cools, and then kind of got pinks and purples. Um, and here I am literally pressing on quite hard and laying down some simple lines of colour. So I haven't really gone in with any paint at all yet. This is just playing straight onto the background and just seeing how my supplies will work in this journal. And I think it's going to be a new favourite. I am going to have to order some extras because I can see that I'm going to fill this one really quickly. It's such a nice size as well. It's not overwhelming. It's not really, really, really big. You're not faced with a big expansive page when you open your book. So yeah, I think it's going to be a favourite along with the ledger. So, but for different reasons. So then again, getting my water brush, you can do this just as easily with a paintbrush. So just dip into some clean water and I'm just pulling it over the pigment that's laid down onto the page and letting that just activate. So I'm going to do that all the way down the page till I get to the bottom. And then I think I decide to just pull those colours out a little bit further as well. So at this point, I'm starting to think about bringing a bit more contrast onto my page. So I'm going to use some black and I'm using one of the coaster stencils with dots on and just adding some little areas of black onto my page. This is the first bit of paint that I'm using on this page. So you can see this is why this is so easy. Your journal pages don't always have to be using all the things, getting them all out, all on your page. And obviously that's a fun, it's fun to do that sometimes, but just remember that sometimes even creating like this, where you're not using all the paint and all the collage and all the everything, is as valuable as those journal pages where you do use all the things. Sometimes keeping it simple means that you can create without too much stress and pressure. So I have added some black stenciling onto my page. And I kind of looked at it and I was like, it's okay, but I kind of feel I want to push it away a bit because it's quite in your face. So I grabbed a white Posca pen and just did some white dots in the centre of some of the black circles just to push those back. And it does work quite well. Um, so yeah, even if you've done something like that and you think, oh, days, I wish I'd not put that much on, or I think it would have worked better if the stencil was even smaller. You can still rescue it and bring it back a bit by just pushing those dots further away. I could also have gone in with some white paint on a blending sponge and kind of added that over the top, but there was a risk that that might have activated the scribble sticks. Unless, of course, you do a spritz of clear gloss over the top to fix them in place. So then again, just to push those dots away a bit more, I'm adding a bit of white text stenciling. This is the new text stencil from Dina this month. And I'm just bringing some of that over the top as well. So yeah, I'm kind of liking how that looks. Now I'm going in with some black splatters. So the reason for this is to help blend those edges a bit more around where they come out onto my journal page, and now I'm much happier with how this looks. So then I was wanting a quote, so I decided I was just going to do some kind of loose handwriting on this page and keep it fairly small. I often do massive quotes, don't I, on my journal pages, but sometimes I just want to write small. And I'm going in first with a gel pen, which is quite a thin nib, just to see if I can get it where I want it to be. And then I'm going to go over the top with a paint pen just to make it a bit bolder. So the pen that I'm going to use to go over the top is an Artex paint pen. You can get these off Amazon fairly cheaply. They're really not expensive and they are really quite nice for this sort of job. So I'm just going to go over the top of what I've just written. Of course, this has got to have some hearts on it. So I'm grabbing my Posca pen and I'm just going to pop some neon pink hearts onto the background in a few places. Yeah, I think for me, when I do journal pages with faces on or figures or people, I quite often like to add hearts. It's just one of those things that I like to do. So here it is, the really simple, easy to do, kind of playful art journaling page using Dina's new release. So thanks for watching. Hope you've enjoyed the video. Don't forget to subscribe so that you can be notified of new videos when they come up. And I hope to see you again soon.